Hello and welcome back. This is the hands-on lab for Power Virtual Agents. We're going to build a Power Virtual Agent and create a couple of workflows. I'm doing this more or less in real time, so if anything goes wrong, you'll see me trying to fix it up. The lab that I'm going from is M03 Power Virtual Agent. It is this lab here. So make sure you've got that from your zip file, and we're going to go straight into it. So open up, I'm going to start from make.powerapps.com. Now it says in the manual here to go and sign up and create a bot. Now I think we can do it this way. So if you've created your own tenant, which is the highly recommended approach, then you can probably do sign up for the trial just by going in here and going new chatbot. And then that will ask you to skip for now. Yes. And now it's going to ask you to sign up for a trial. So it's just a quicker way of doing it. It's the same thing as just going to that trial thing. Start free trial. So this here is, you can go that way and do it, but sign in as your demo account, or you can do it the way that I did it, just by going to make.powerapps.com, under chatbots, create, and then add a new chatbot, and it will launch this as well. So we're going to name our bot, and we are going to call it Contoso bot. Contoso bot. What language you're going to speak? You speak English, and the environment. So if you've set up your trial tenant, then that will be selected by default there. So that's good. So click on create, and that's now going off and creating the bot. It can take a while. It can take a few minutes. So I'm going to go and pause. The documentation there says it can take up to 15 minutes. I tend to see that it takes 2-3 minutes. Let's see how it goes, and I'll come back when it is ready. Okay, welcome back. So you should be at this screen now once your bot is ready. Bot's created, your Contoso bot. Some really good content on this page. One of the things about this course, this Build Your Own Power App Solution course, is it's really about exploring and just getting the environment set up for you and getting you a bit of hands-on experience, and really there's lots of really good documentation here that you can just go and read and really get into deep dives. So I'm going to give you a very quick overview of this interface before we jump into actually doing the lab, but yeah, you can really learn a lot from just these pages. First thing to note is this home page here. Lots of videos, ideas forum, test and publish bot. This here suggest topics is interesting. So if you click on that suggest topics, it's got and I'm going to go to an online content. So I just grabbed this. I've literally just copied this. I found this FAQ site and it seemed fairly well structured. I'm going to see how the AI handles that, and I'll do that while we're doing the other stuff. So notice that there's a bit of a space there, and you have to remove the HTTPS. So there's the thing. So I'm going to click on start, and that's going to go off and start doing those topics. So that's topics here. So that's going off. That's going to build using AI. It's going to extract all of these questions and answers, and we'll see how it fares. We'll see if it does. And then what happens is, like, this can take a few minutes. So by the end of our lab, we'll come back to this and see if they've created. But that's a really useful feature. So if you've got a Word document, or if you've got an internal or an external FAQ site, you could build a chatbot pretty easily just by using that. So you're building topics. We're building these things called topics. And there are a lot of inbuilt topics here. So you have these always on. So a greeting. So hello, good day. So in a topic you have so these are the topics, and so say I want to go to let's say escalate. So the topic is escalate. So talk to an agent, talk to a person, talk to someone, call back, call customer services. These here are all trigger phrases. And on this topic, when one of these phrases is called, or when a similar phrase is called, you'll notice there's quite a lot of trigger phrases here. That means it's been refined over time, which is good, which is what we should do over time. You don't need to get it perfect straight away. One of the ways to actually do it is you create the bot, have it running, monitoring how it's going, and then reevaluate the trigger phrases as you're going along. But you can see this one here, it's got 65. So there's a lot of trigger phrases here for this escalate to a human. So what happens if this topic is actually triggered? This is where the authoring canvas comes in. So click on authoring canvas, and then this here is where you would update this message to do something with that. So you might say, oh, you can call us on this number, or you can send us an email here, but you would change the message here to do whatever it needed to when someone tries to escalate. So these are the always on inbuilt topics. Then you can create your own topics, and we're going to do that in the lab. I'll just talk through some of these other things first. If we go into greeting here, you've got analytics for that particular topic, how many times it's been triggered, what phrases trigger it, if there's so how many sessions this has been used. Obviously, there's nothing in here yet. So I'm going to go to entities. So entities are representations of real world things. So you can see here you've got cities, you've got age of a person, and there's different things here. So if we go into date and time, so you can see here that this is a pre-built model, and if someone says our meeting is next Friday, then the entity that it finds is next Friday, and that will be a value that is saved. So the value for the entity of date time from a chat is saved into a variable. You can create custom entities. Do we do that in the lab? Let's have a look. We don't, I don't think. No, so we do go into entities a lot more detail in Power Virtual Agents in a day, so I'm just going to leave that there. Analytics, this is where you see analytics about the bot in general. Obviously, we're nothing there yet at this point in time. And publish, this is where you decide where you're going to publish your bot. Where is it going to go to? So you set up channels, and you can see which channels are being used, and lots of different channels here. Won't get into too much detail on that. And then there's lots of other management skills down here, which we won't cover in this lab. So having given you that very quick intro, in fact now you can see here that this FAQ site has been ingested, and we've got some suggested topics. So you can see here how much does it cost. That's pretty good. How much does it cost? And you get the answer. So you'd probably want to cost, if we was to add this to the bot, then you'd want to update the trigger phrases to things like what's the price, different ways of asking how much does it cost. Okay, so we're going to so that's using AI to suggest topics for us, but let's crack on with the lab. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a topic, and add some trigger phrases. So we're going to add a new topic, and it's going to be called order status. I'm going to check on the order status of our ordered piece of equipment. So the trigger phrase is here. So what might somebody actually say that's looking for their order? Well, it might be, where is my order? Other ones. Order status. There are some good techniques around building trigger phrases that we get into in Power Virtual Agent in a day, but we will not cover those here. Order approval, approval status. Where is my, they might mention device. So yeah, they're the trigger phrases that will start this particular topic, this particular conversation. So, and one more, check my order. We've got 6 trigger phrases: check my order, where's my device, approval status, order approval, order status, and where's my order. So if a person asks any of these or similar ones, similar questions, then it will trigger this order status topic. And then what will happen when it's done, click on Save Topic. So when this topic is triggered, what is actually going to happen? We're going to go to the authoring canvas, and this here is what happens as a result of these trigger phrases being initiated. So what we want to do first of all is maybe say, I can help you with that. And there's a whole topic around conversation style, that kind of thing. We do cover that in Power Virtual Agents in a day. Just give you an idea, a play around here of what you can actually do. But know that there is a bit of a art and science to creating a good chatbot that is interactive and useful. So this is a node here. So this node is a message. So the trigger started, then going to be a message. I'm going to add a node here. Now these are the nodes that I can add. And we're going to ask a question. We're going to say, do you have your order number? Now, we're going to have multiple choice options here. And we're going to present the user with some options, yes and no. Now, what you'll notice what's happened here is 2 condition nodes have appeared. If it's yes, it goes down here. If it's no, it goes down here. Super, super easy to create this. So I'm going to go down the no branch. I'm going to add a node. And we're going to show a message. And what we're going to do is just say simply, sorry, I can't help you without an order number. Please find it and come back. And then what we're going to do here is we're going to go here and we're going to go redirect to another topic. And there is one called confirmed failure. So what this does is we know that the topic, let's save that. One tip is to keep saving as you're going. Let's view this topic. So the confirmed failure will then say, look, sorry, I wasn't able to help better. Would you like to talk to a human agent or try rephrasing? So it will give you some better options. So it will guide the user on some nice customer service types of behavior. So that's what we're going to do here. We're going to say, sorry, I can't help you. And then it says, goes and does the customer service stuff about being helpful. We're now going to then go into, we're going to ask, so if they say yes, then I'm going to ask a question, and we're going to say, what is your order number? Please tell me your order number. And this time, we're going to change this multiple choice options. Now notice here, you can identify what the answer is going to be. So you can ask the user for, tell me your age, or tell me your city you're in. And you can recognize that that is going to be a city that returns, or an age, or that kind of thing. So these are all the different pieces of information, entities that you can ask for. So we're not asking for an entity in this time, we're just going to ask for the user's entire response, and we're going to store it as this variable here. What we're going to do is, in this var1, we're going to click on the edit, and we're going to change this name here to order number. So we are storing the user's we can store the user's response as a variable, and then we can use that variable later on, which indeed we will do. So it's often a good idea to get confirmation, so we're going to reuse that variable here, and we're going to ask a question. I'm just going to say, your order number is, and then you've got this little drop down here that is variable. So insert variable, order number. And then we can go down here. Is this correct? Notice you've got these formatting, so maybe I want to do that italics. Maybe I want this to be bold. And the options for the user is yes, and maybe it's no. So we're going to go down the no branch here. So they've confirmed here that the number is wrong. Now what we can do is you can click on that, and you see how that's a little dot? You can then drag that up. Might need to zoom out. I'm going to zoom out here. So what we want to do here, if the person says no, we want to go back to here and please tell me your order number. So you can click on the plus on the add node, and you can drag. Oops, got to get it right. Oh, nope. So add node, and that little dot there, click on that, and then drag that up and connect the dot there. So now what will happen is it will go down to here. If the person says no, it will go back up here and ask them for the order number again. I'm going to zoom back in. Hit save, always save as you go. It's a bit strange it doesn't auto save, but this doesn't auto save, so get into the habit of hitting save. So now what we're going to do is, so that's built out, so we can actually test it if you like. You can test it. So first of all, if you're not seeing that, there's a test your bot button down here, and that will slide this in and out. And we're going to test it. So hey, so what was our trigger phrase? It was check my order. So you can see here now, it is going through this topic. You can see it's going through, it's triggered this topic. I say yes, I have my order number, and it is 1 2 3 4 5. Is this correct? No. And it's going to go back and say, please tell me your order number. Now something happened with that testing. You see how this here got a bit funky? Let's see what's going on there. So order number. We'll fix it up after. We'll find out what's going on with that later. It's not that important at this point. So we've got down to this point here where they've confirmed that the answer is correct, and we're now going to call a flow. So this here is where we go. Click on here and call an action. And the actions that we have are to authenticate. We need to set that up, so that's not available to us. We do cover that in Power Virtual Agents in a day. But here we're going to launch Power Automate and create a flow. So click on create a flow, and that will open up flow. Now what will happen is it will automatically create a flow using this template. We might want to rename that. Let's rename this to get order. Get order status. And now we're going to add inputs and outputs. So we're going to input a text, and we're going to call it order number. And then we're going to click on this button here to add an action. So when this flow runs, it's going to ask for an order number, and now what we're going to do is we're going to build a flow that goes and gets the order status from Dataverse. Here's all the different connectors that are available to us inside Power Automate. We do have a full course on Power Automate Basics. We use this quite extensively, so we build an AI build and all of that cool stuff. So do go and check that out if you're interested in more in Power Automate. We're just going to click along with the dots here. So variable, we're going to initialize a variable. I'm going to rename this to var bot message. And the type is going to be string. So we're going to store the message that will return back to the end user inside this variable. And here, add an action. The name here is bot message. It's a string and there's no initial value. Now add an action here. And we're going to initialize another variable. I'll rename this to order exists. Variable name is going to be order exists. And this is going to be Boolean, a string with a value of no. So what we've done here is, I'm going to hit save. All we've done is create a flow that will be called by Power Virtual Agents, pass in a variable called order number. And all we're doing so far is initializing two variables. What we're going to do is we are going to look up in Dataverse for the order, and then use these variables to pass the data back to the chatbot. So let's go add an action here. And what we're going to do is we're going to go to Dataverse and list rows. Click on list rows. Now the table we want to look for is device orders. So we're going to look in the device orders table, and it's going to give us some columns here. I'll click on Show Advanced Options. Now, what we need to do is we're going to build a bit of syntax that looks for the order ID and put it inside this filter here. What we need to do is make sure we're using the correct field name for our table. So what we're going to do is going to go into Power Apps. We're going to go to Data, Tables. I'm going to get the prefix. We'll open up device order. And then if we look at the columns, we have supplier order ID. You see here how this is CRDA9. That's what we're after. So in the documentation, it is new, I think, new supplier order ID, but in our environment, it's different. So you see what we're going to do is we're going to paste that into our filter rows. And then the syntax is EQ for equals. And then single quotes, wrap a string. So you need a single quotes around this to wrap the string. And we want the order number, which is here. That's come in from Power Virtual Agents. So this will filter based on the order number that's been provided. So now we don't need those advanced options, so we can leave it like that, which is good. So now what we want to do is see if the order was approved. So we're going to click on Insert a Step here. And this is where you can introduce conditions inside flow as well. So we go into condition. And now the value here. Now notice what's happened with this dynamic content. We used it earlier to populate the order number inside here, and we use this dynamic content. Dynamic content changes based on where you are in the workflow. So by the time the flow gets to this condition, this list rows has executed. So we have the value from that. We have the values from that list rows. So what we're going to do is we're going to scroll down this. I'm going to look for approval status. Approval status. I'm going to click on that. Now what you will notice here is that this apply to each gets wrapped around, because list rows can have more than one return value. So if there is more than one value returned, then we want to loop through those and apply to each of them. Now we know that only one will come back, so we're not going to code for that. You might want to code for that differently and do that a bit differently in a production environment, but for now, we're just going to assume and know that that will only get one row back. And we're going to rename this to check approval. And save flow. So what I want to do is what is the approval status? So if it's approved, we're going to go down here. So what we need to do is go back to our table over here, and similar to how we looked at how we got the variable for the field name, we need to do the same thing for the choice of options that have come back. So we're going to go into our table here, into the device order table, into approval status, and then we're going to click on edit choice here. And then in edit choice, here are the two options that we can have: approve or reject. And if I click on view more, this is the value that will be set if it's approved. So we want to copy that and drop that into here. Now, an important thing here is we need it to be without commas. So take out those commas. That's now saying approval status is equal to this value. So the approval status stored in the table is the number, and when it's displayed to the user, it displays as the label. So we need to make sure that we've got that ID number to know whether it's approved or not. So we're going to save the page. And now we're going to build the message for our return value. So in the yes column here, we're going to add an action. And rather than initialize, we're going to set a variable. Set variable. So which variable we're going to set? We're going to set the bot message. And we're going to say your order for. And then we can add in some personalized stuff here. So device name was approved and will be shipped on, and you've got a shipping date down here, I believe. Estimated ship date. There we go. And now in the no branch, add here. And again, so we can set variable. And this here, we're going to just rename this to be set the approved message. And here we're going to set the not approved message. It's a good idea to get used to renaming these so you don't go mad. Let's rename that, set the approved message. There we go. So in here, bot message and the variable. The not approved message, your order for, and then device name was not approved. Please talk to your manager. And the final thing we're going to do here is we're going to add an action here, not in the yes or no, but just inside this loop here. So currently we've got order exists is no, defaulted to no. If there are any rows returned at all, and we expect just one row, then everything inside this particular white box here is going to execute. If there are no rows, it won't execute. So order exists will remain as no. So what we want to do here is set variable, oh dear, can't type, set variable, and we're going to set order exists to yes here, because an order must exist if the apply to each is executed, so that must be yes. Order doesn't exist if this never gets executed, so it will be no, which is useful for us to know. The final thing we want to do, so what we've done here is we've gone to Dataverse, we've looked for the order number, and now I want to return these values back to Power Automate. So we're going to click on text, and this is going to be bot message, and this is going to be order exists. It's got spaces in the documentation, doesn't matter. You can do whichever. So that's the bot message, and this here is order exists. So these are the names of the output variables, and what we're passing are these two variables that we've initiated here. And then click on save. Once that's green at the bar at the top, we can then go back to our topic here. And we're going to go back down to here. I'm going to go to add node, call an action, and this time what you'll see that the flow is now listed. Click on get order status, and it's saying, okay, so this needs an input of an order number. So what is the variable that you've got up here that will be the order number? And it is, of course, order number. And then these two output variables will be created because that's what comes back. What we're going to do now is, depending on whether the order exists or not, we're going to do different things. So we're going to manually add a condition. We saw before where a condition was automatically created based on user inputs. Here we're going to add a condition, and this time the order exists is yes. And then all the conditions are going to go down here, so no, basically. I'm just going to hit save. It's reminding me up here to save, so I'm going to hit save, just because it's not good to lose your work. So if it doesn't exist here, we're going to go here and we're going to show a message. There was no order for that number. In here, we're going to go in here and add node, show a message, and this time we're going to insert the variable of bot message. And then after that, we're going to end with survey. So end the conversation, end with survey. So in the documentation, it actually gets you to put the bot message in here as well, but I don't see how that's useful. Let me double check. It would make sense if we had a default on the this. If we had a default here for there was no order there wasn't an order, that would work, but we don't have that. So there's actually a bit of a typo in there, I think, because what it has in the documentation is it has for both of these, like whether the order exists or not, it's going to show the bot message, which would be empty. So there's a bit of a typo there. Don't worry about it. We are going to not worry about that and just have it like that. And then we're going to go here to end the conversation. What we can do is we can click that and drag that over to there, and that will do the same thing. So now we're going to test it. Let's test our bot. So first of all, let's go in and let's just get a number. So I'm going to go into the table here. Let's close out of that. Let's look at the data, and I want to get an order ID. Let's get order ID. Supplier order ID here. Now let's do it. Let's do it the way that the documentation is telling us to do it. So we're going to create a device order. So we're going to go into device ordering app. Device ordering app. And we're going to get one of them. Submit device request. And that's now done. And then I'm going to go into the procurement app. And where's the latest ones? Newer to older. So this one here has just been created. It is not 3 a.m. I'm not doing this at 3 a.m. It's just the time zone of this particular machine of the app. So I'm going to go in here and click on next stage, place the order, and we're going to put a ship date of, let's say it's 19th because it's a late time, and then it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Next stage. So that's now been ordered in the pretend world. So we now have our order number of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So let's go and test our agent. So we go test your bot here. And we're just going to say, where's my order? You can reset it. Click on reset, we'll reset it. You can track between topics. So you might say something like, hey. That's right, hit on save here. I'm just going to hit on save just in case, So track between topics is going to go and do something fancy. So I'm going to reset that. And now I want to go, okay. Hey there. So that's a greeting. So you can see here, it's going to the greeting topic. It's going to open up the greeting topic. So how can I help you today? I'm just going to try just order. There you go. So that trigger phrase order question mark is not a trigger phrase, but you can see that AI has simply just realized that I am asking about my order. Do I have the order number? Yes, I do. 99999. No, that's not correct. Please tell me order number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yes, that is correct. And you can see now it's going to go down to that part where it's going to go off to Power Automate. was not approved. Please talk to your manager. So there's something going on there. We can look at the variables. If we go to the other topic, let's run this again. Let's say something like order status. Yes. Let's go to the authoring canvas. You see where it's at now. So here's the variables. You can watch the variables here. So we can see that variable yes, I do have the number. So the number here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oops. So the order number is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, which is good. Click on yes. Oh, so maybe it wasn't actually approved. Oh, approval status. Approved. There we go. There we go. So if I go back to here, now we should have it working. Let's refresh that. Locate my order, please. I can help with that. Do you have your order number? So again, locate my order, please was not one of the trigger phrases, but the AI is that NLP has picked that up, that's what we're asking for. Order number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Here you can see the variables being populated. And off it goes. Now, what I would probably do here is I would actually add a message in here to say, I'm just looking that up for you. And then obviously we need to format the data a bit better here as well. But you get the idea of where we're at. And now it's going to, this is the end of conversation with the survey. Yes, it did. And please rate your experience. That was a top-notch experience. That was a 5. Goodbye. And now you'll see it's going to the goodbye. Thanks for chatting with me. Goodbye. So it was going through the different topics as well there, the different navigating through the topics. That is Power Virtual Agents. Very, very high level introduction. Gets you a bit hands-on with what they're about and what you can do. Hopefully that's useful. And look forward to seeing you in the next lab where we will be, what is the next lab? Portals, Power Apps Portals. So see you in that next lab.